तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः.
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and we are in the conversations of Sunday, March 23, 1884. March 23, 1884. And we read up to that point that Sri Ramakrishna, referring to Rajendra Datta, Rajendra Mitra, you don't like a sadhu if you have to give him money. That is, he is addressing them. They did not give any money to that Hatha Yogi. And then he says, Rajendra Mitra draws a salary of 800 rupees a month. He had been to Allahabad to see the Kumbh Mela. I asked him, well, what kind of sadhu did you see at the fair? Rajendra said, I did not find any very great sadhu there. I noticed one, it is true, but even he accepted money. Accepted. That means you gave him and he accepted. On this point, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, I say to myself, if no one gives money to a sadhu, then how will he feed himself? Then he talks about himself. There is no collection plate here, therefore all come. And I say to myself, alas, they love their money, let them have it. So this is an observation on householders having sufficient money but unwilling to give or not liking anybody if he takes money. And then he says, I do not ask for money or no money is accepted here, and so they come. And in my mind, I say, let them have their money. So he takes it to be a natural something with householders. Though all may not be like them, but a tendency, and to which Thakur has no connection because he does not want. Up to that we read. The master rested a while. A devotee, evidently M himself, many times he does not name him. A devotee sat on the end of the small coach and gently stroked his feet. So this loving service Master Masha has done, sitting on the coach itself. The master said to him softly, how does he know unless he is that? That which is, so you may try to hide himself, but you cannot. That which is formless again has form. So that is generally his talk with Master Masha because he had that fancy for formless. One should believe in the forms of God also. He is not asking him to give up that formless, but forms also. By meditating on Kali, the aspirant realizes God as Kali. So, how one proceeds from form So the forms of God are such that whatever one form you stick to in your meditation, then because God is everywhere, so God manifests himself to you in that form. That is how one proceeds with form. Some form appeals to you. Many forms appeal to you in the beginning, then your devotion is hollow. But many forms may be all right for you, but some form appeals to you more than others. Then you should take that for your constant meditation. Then God is in all forms. So he will, now that form you are meditating upon, but then you will see God in that form. So that will be the first step. If some form appeals to you, you meditate on that form, not exclusively, but specifically. And then God, who is all pervading, will appear to you through that form. So instead of seeing that form only, you will see God in that form. Then next, he finds that the form merges in the indivisible absolute. So from formless, you go to from form, you go to the real formless. That is Nirakar Nirgun. Because how will you see? You will meditate on Kali. You will see Kali as God. And then that form melts into Nirakar, the Nirakar Nirgun. So the form will vanish and God will remain. Indivisible absolute. That is Akhanda. In the Akhanda, so the Akhanda, in English they have made it unbroken absolute. That which is the indivisible Satchit Ananda is verily Kali. That is why it appeared first that Kali is God. Because the indivisible Akhanda Satchidananda itself appears in all forms. And especially Kali is the Shakti, Sagum Brahma. So that appeared as Kali, you realize Kali as God, and then you realize the absolute. That is the procedure. So one should believe in form also. That will help you to realize God. That much conversation in private with Master Macha. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on the semicircular porch west of his room, talking with Mahima and other devotees about the Hatha Yogi. So that topic continues. The talk drifted to Ram Prasanna, the son of Krishna Kishore. If you remember, Thakur has referred many times to Krishna Kishore. He has gone to the house of Krishna Kishore. Krishna Kishore was a person who had faith as his substance to meditate. And so, Sri Ramakrishna was very fond of him. And that Krishna Kishore's son in this Ram Prasanna. The master was fond of the young man. Young man is Ram Prasanna. Because he is the son of Krishna Kishore. So Thakur was fond of Krishna Kishore, and so by association, he wants his son also to develop spiritually. But it is not happening. That Thakur describes. Master. So he is talking with Mahima. Ram Prasanna roams about aimlessly, The other day he came here and sat in the room, but he did not speak a word. He pressed his nostrils with his fingers, practicing pranayama. I offered him something to eat, but he wouldn't take it. So Thakur's affection and love also is not accepting. On another occasion, I had asked him to sit by me. He squatted on the floor, placing one leg upon the other. That is arrogance and not accepting what Thakur has said. He was rather discourteous to Captain. Captain is Upadhyay, the agent of Nepal government in Calcutta. Thakur called him Captain. And he was also a great person, a great devotee. But this Ramakrishna was not courteous to him. So from all sides, Thakur is finding Ramakrishna's behavior unsatisfactory, not fitting to be a Krishna Kishore's son. I weep at his mother's suffering, so that is his conclusion. His mother means Krishna Kishore's wife, and she must be expecting that the son will follow in father's footsteps. But he is of a different nature, so his mother is suffering. And that Thakur weeps. So Thakur has full sympathy with his mother because Ramakrishna is not behaving like that. To Mahima, now specifically to Mahima, Ramakrishna asked me to speak to you about the Hatha Yogi. So Hatha Yogi wanted some money, and Ramakrishna has become fond of that Hatha Yogi. But Ramakrishna cannot have so much money, and you have. So Ramakrishna asked me to ask you about the money. The yogi's daily expenses are 6.5 annas. Annas, 16 part of the rupee, 6.5 annas. So, getting any idea? You multiply by 30, 195 annas, 16 into 12, around 12 rupees a month. But he won't tell you about it himself. He's arrogant, shy. He can talk to Thakur, but not to Mahima, from whom he expects money. And Mahima has no concern with that Hatha Yogi or Ramakrishna. Mahima says, who will listen to him even if he does? So that topic about Hatha Yogi is over here. Mani Sen of Panihati entered the room with several friends, one of whom was a physician. Mani Sen, Thakur's great devotee, he had a temple at Panihati, and when Thakur used to go to Panihati, he would go to his house and the temple, and for a short period between Mathur Babu and Shambhu Malik, it is Mani Sen who had given Thakur all his necessary needs. So that is a special relation with Sri Ramakrishna. So he came and he has heard about Thakur's broken arm. That is why he has come and brought a physician with him. Mani asked the master about his injured arm. The doctor did not approve of the medicine prescribed by Pratap Majumdar. Pratap Majumdar is a doctor. He had prescribed some medicine. So Thakur has told that. And his friend physician has not liked that. The master said to him, why should you say that? Pratap is no fool. He is also a doctor. Suddenly Lattu cried out, oh, the medicine bottle has dropped and broken. I think this is indicative of that you can give him a new medicine now. It was not yet dusk. The master seated on the coach was talking to M. That means next incident. Mahima was on the semicircular porch, engaged in a loud discussion of the scriptures with the physician friend of Manisha. So it seemed that physician also was interested in scriptures. Sri Ramakrishna heard it and with a smile said to him, "There, he is delivering himself." That is the characteristic of Rajas. It stimulates the desire to lecture and to show off one's scholarship. That is the Rajogun. But Sattva makes one introspective. It makes one hides one's virtues. So, in the Upanishad, those who really know Brahman do not become Ativadi. They do not like to supersede others in talk. Those who are half, say prana, they become Ativadi. They really can become Ativadi and they become Ativadi. But those who realize the highest, they don't like to talk above what others have talked. When question is asked, you can get it, but by themselves they are not going to talk. But I must say that Mahima is a grand person. He takes such delight in spiritual talk. So at least he is not talking of worldly things. He is talking of spiritual things and he takes delight in that. Now, other entered the room. He is a dear devotee who passed away very young. He was a big officer, saluted the master and sat by M's side. Very humble. He had not come for the past few days. Master, hello. Why haven't you come all these days? Because he is dear to him. When he comes again and again, he will benefit spiritually. Other, sir, I've been busy with so many things. I had to attend a conference of the school committee and various other meetings. So he was busy in worldly matters. Master, so you completely lost yourself in schools and meetings and forgot everything else. Forgot spirituality. Is it right? Other, everything else was hidden away in a corner of my mind. I did not completely forgot, but kept it reserved to be thought of when I get time. How is your arm? For that he has come. Master, just look, it is not yet healed. I have been taking medicine prescribed by Pratap. After a time, the master suddenly said to other, remember, when other said, master had made a comment. And after a time, again, suddenly, look here, all these are unreal. Unreal is Thakur's very constant thing. To householders and to sannyasis and to people with family, he cannot change that because that is the truth. And he said the world is unreal. Everything other than Brahman is unreal. Kamini Kanchan is unreal. But not only Kamini Kanchan, whatever makes one attached, that is unreal. Meetings, school, office, and everything else. God alone is the substance, means real. And all else is illusory. Unreal, illusory. One should worship God with one's whole mind. So for a sadhak, one should worship God with one's whole mind. Others sat without speaking a word. So other went into introspection. What is he doing? Is it all right? Can he change it? That is the meaning of his silence. But Master continues, all else is illusory. This moment the body is, and the next moment it is not. So the way to understand illusory is the evanescent nature. Now the body is there, now it will be not. So how will you say it is real? If it is real, where does it go away? So this temporary evanescent is way to realize the unreal. This is Thakur's constant theme. One must make haste to worship God. So, Kshanardamapi Vyartham Nanayam, Narada said, because the life is subject to death. When will that death come? Nobody knows. So, one should make haste to worship God. All other things will take care of themselves. I remember something here. In Chandigarh, one Bengali girl who was in England or Germany somewhere had come with her mother. She wanted to ask about yoga, meditation, and she described her life as very, very busy in nonsense things. Dress, this, that. Then I asked her, how will you get time to meditate? You are so busy. Then she said, I will meditate first, other things will take care of themselves. Understand? Thakur is telling, think of God in haste. That is the haste. First God, then other things, if at all. Otherwise, you won't get time. But you don't have to renounce everything. How practical, how compassionate. He knows he is an householder. Live in the world the way the tortoise does. Example, the tortoise roams about in the water but keeps its eggs on land. Its whole mind is on the eggs. So examples Thakur has, how can you say the mind cannot be there? Tortoise is roaming throughout the water, but his mind is where the eggs are. So keep God as the center of your consciousness, and with whatever remaining energy you do the world. You can do it. Now he gives an example to him, living example. What a nice state of mind captain has developed. So by practice, this state of mind is developed. He looks like a rishi when he is seated to perform worship. He performed the arati with lighted camphor and recites beautiful hymns. When he rises from his seat after finishing the worship, his eyes are swollen from emotion, as if bitten by ants. So much feeling he has gathered inside. By practice, he has come to this state. The one word I have not liked as usual is emotion. Oh, in the original Bengali, that thing is not there at all. Only his eyes are swollen. From that, we have to infer. So, we have every right to change this word. His eyes are swollen as if bitten by ants. Now, from emotion, we can easily substitute from feeling of God, from a divine feeling, from a devotional feeling, swollen, like bitten by ants, they are not swollen. Nobody has bitten it. But due to inner intensity of feeling about God, they are swollen. from devotional intense feeling. Besides, he always devotes himself to the study of the sacred books such as the Gita and the Bhagavata. Once I used one or two English words before him, and that made him angry. Though he is an officer, agent, but he does not like Thakur to talk in English. He said English educated people are profane. Bhraštachari. They have lost all sense of good behavior, spiritual behavior. That is profane. This little narrowness, but this shows his nishtha to Indian things. After a while, others said humbly to the master, Sir, you haven't been to our place for a long time. The drawing room smells worldly, and everything else appears to be steeped in darkness. Worldly and darkness. The master was deeply touched by these words of his devotee because they have come from the very depth of his heart. He suddenly stood up and blessed M and other in an ecstatic mood. So M became included. Touching their heads and hearts. In a voice choked with love, the master said, I look upon you as Narayana himself, because you have devotion within you. You are indeed my own. Thakur himself is Narayana. They are his own. That is, they belong to inner circle or they belong to genuine devotees. Mahimacharya entered the room. He was discussing outside. Master to Mahima, what I said about aspirants practicing continence is true. Thakur takes up that which he was talking to Mahima. See, the easy shift. Without chastity, one cannot assimilate these teachings you are discussing, but you cannot assimilate without chastity. Once a man said to Chaitanya, Standard, you give the devotees so much instruction, why don't they make much progress? Chaitanya said, they dissipate their powers in the company of women. That is why they cannot assimilate spiritual instruction. If one keeps water in a leaky jar, the water escapes little by little through the leak. That is all reference to sexual abuse. My mind, the other devotees remained silent. They became introspective. Other devotees also. After a time, Mahima said, please pray to God for us that we may acquire the necessary strength. So he accepts that it is weakness, master. And he became sincere for that moment due to Thakur's influence. Master, be on your guard even now. So strength means even now if be on your guard, you will get strength. It is difficult, no doubt, to check the torrent in the rainy season. All this refers to the sexual urge during youth. But a great deal of water has gone out. You have already wasted your energy. If you build the embankment now, it will stand. So, see, Thakur's practical instruction. In young age, you have indulged a lot. Now you have become mature, you can put an embankment. How practical for a man in every state and step. So we come to the end of that conversation. Then we shift to chapter 21, A Day at Dakshineshwar, Saturday, April 5, 1884. So some days have gone, that was March 23. Now next week, Saturday, Master Mash has come. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning when M arrived at the temple garden and found Sri Ramakrishna seated on the small coach in his room. A few devotees were sitting on the floor. The master was talking to them. Pranakrishna Mukherjee was there. Thakur used to call him the fat Brahmin. Pranakrishna belonged to an aristocratic family, and lived in the northern part of Calcutta, nearer to Dakshineshwar. He held a high post in an English business firm. He was very much devoted to Sri Ramakrishna, and though a householder, derived great pleasure from the study of Vedanta philosophy. There are within householders very sincere devotees of Vedanta. He was a frequent visitor at the temple garden. Once he invited Master to his house in Calcutta and held a religious festival. General introduction of Pranakrishna. Every day early in the morning, he bathed in the holy water of the Ganges. So he believes in the purifying influence, ritualistic thought, or faith in the Ganges. Whenever it was convenient, he would come to Dakshineshwar in a hired country boat. So he could hire a country boat and come. That morning he had hired a boat and invited M to accompany him to Dakshineshwar. The boat had hardly left shore when the river became choppy. M had become frightened and begged Pranakrishna to put him back on land. In spite of assurances, so M is describing his state freshly. M had kept saying, "You must put me ashore. I shall walk to Dakshineshwar." And so M came on foot and found Sri Ramakrishna talking to Pranakrishna and the others. So they arrived much earlier. Master to Pranakrishna. But there is a greater manifestation of God in man. But means some talk is already going on. You may ask how is it possible for God to be incarnated as a man? Vedanti, na? Who suffers from hunger, thirst, and the other traits of an embodied being, and perhaps also from disease and grief. The reply is, even Brahman weeps, entrapped in the snare of the five elements. So, I hope we have not missed anything. I will read a little more from back. We read that morning he had hired a boat and invited him to accompany him to Dakshineshwar. The boat had hardly left shore when the river became choppy. M had become frightened and begged Pranakrishna to put him back ashore. In spite of assurances, M had kept saying, "You must put me ashore," to put him back on land. "I shall walk to Dakshineshwar." And so M came on foot and found Sri Ramakrishna talking to Pranakrishna and the others. They had come earlier. Master to Pranakrishna. But there is a greater manifestation of God in man. But means something is already going on. You may ask, how is it possible for God to be incarnated as a man who suffers from hunger, thirst, and the other traits of an embodied being? The Vedantic view. and perhaps also from disease and grief? The reply is, even Brahman weeps, entrapped in the snare of the five elements. That means when it takes up a body, it is bound to happen. But that does not touch his inside Godhood. That is the meaning. He is Brahman. But because he has come in a body, he feels like that. He feels the miseries and sufferings of the body and mind, and so he weeps. And is giving example of another incarnation. Don't you know how Rama had to weep, stricken with grief for Sita? Another example of another incarnation. Further, it is said that the Lord incarnated himself as a sow, she-pig, in order to kill the demon Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha was eventually killed, but God would not go back to his abode in heaven. He enjoyed his soul life. He had given birth to several young ones and was rather happy with them. The gods said among themselves, what does this mean? The Lord doesn't care to return to heaven. They all went to Shiva and laid the matter before him. Shiva came down and urged the Lord to leave the soul body and return to heaven, but the soul only suckled her young ones. Laughter. That means he is showing that God also can suffer once he is in the body. Then Shiva destroyed the soul body with his trident, and the Lord came out laughing. So that is the difference. He is not afraid of his giving up his soul body. Laughed aloud, and went back to his own abode. So that is the Puranic story about third incarnation, Matsya Katsya Vara. Krishna to the master. He wants to divert that to his own school. Sir, what is the Anahata sound? We have discussed this once. Anahata is before Om. Huh? Here it will become very clear. Master, it is a spontaneous sound constantly going on by itself. No need to beat something to produce that sound. It is the sound of the pranava, Om, manifest as Om. Huh? It originates in the Supreme Brahman and is heard by yogis. So it is very subtle inside. Pranaver Dhwani. That means the Dhwani which makes up Om. A yogi alone knows that this sound originates both from his navel and from the Supreme Brahman resting on the ocean of milk. Ocean of milk, Kshira Sagar, and God as Vishnu is supposed to be resting there. Now, I will tell you a humor. Huh? Humor, pure humor. Asare khalu samsare sarantu shashuralayam. In this world of no substance, the only substance is the house of the father-in-law. How? Shiva Himalaya Shete Harishete Mohodadau. Shiva lives on Himalaya, the father-in-law's house. Parvati is his wife, Himalaya is her father. And Hari lives in the great ocean. So that is a humor. Huh? Now here he means the yogi knows that the sound is originating actually from Hari. In his body, it is originating from the navel. Originating from the navel, but actually in the cosmos, it is originating from the Supreme Brahman. And in an individual, it appears as if originating from the navel. Ramakrishna Shift asks another question. Sir, what is the nature of the life after death? Master. Keshav also asked that question. As long as a man remains ignorant, that is to say, as long as he has not realized God, that is ignorance, huh? Wrong knowledge about himself and about the world. When he realizes God, he gets the right knowledge. So long will he be born. But after attaining, so after death, again he is born. That is the answer. And two answers. But after attaining knowledge, he will not have to come back to this earth or to any other plane of existence. He will not have to come back. Now he gives examples. Huh? The potter puts his pots in the sun to dry. Haven't you noticed that among them there are both baked and unbaked ones? Thakur's observation. When a cow happens to walk over them, some of the pots get broken into pieces. In open, they used to do everything. The broken pots that are already baked, the potter throws away when they are broken, since they are of no more use to him. But the soft ones, though broken, he gathers up, he makes them into a lump, and out of this forms new pots. In the same way, so long as a man has not realized God, he will have to come back to the potter's hand, raw. That is, he will have to be born again and again. If it is baked, then the body is left forever. He has merged in God. What is the use of sowing a boiled paddy again? Another example. Paddy is boiled, then it will not germinate. It will never bring forth a shoot. Likewise, if a man is boiled in the fire of knowledge, he will not be used for new creation. He is liberated. Okay. Siddha Chal is translated as boiled rice. Cooked rice, okay, all right. According to the Puranas, the Bhakta and the Bhagwan are two separate entities. Solution from another angle, I am one and you are another. The body is a plate, as it were, containing the water of mind, intelligence, and ego. Brahman is like the sun, it is reflected in the water, therefore the devotee sees the divine form. So the connection. Oh. According to the Vedanta, therefore, the devotee sees the divine form, dreamlike and unsubstantial. Form, but not real, so dreamlike and unsubstantial. The ego, like a stick, lies across the ocean of Satchidananda. Example, 2M, listen to what I am saying. Perhaps M was unattentive, or Thakur wants him to pay more attention because he should note down correctly. When this ego is taken away, there remains only one undivided ocean of Satchidananda, that stick is ego. But as long as the stick of ego remains, there is an appearance of two. Appearance. Here is one part of the water and there another part. Attaining the knowledge of Brahman, one is established in Samadhi, then the ego is effaced. But Shankaracharya retained the ego of knowledge. That means it is illumined ego, not real. In a big footnote is given, in order to teach men to Pran Krishna. But there are signs that distinguish the man of knowledge. Simply we should not say, I have kept the ego. A jnani cannot injure anybody. He becomes like a child. If a steel sword touches the philosopher's stone, it is transformed into gold. Gold can never cut. It may seem from the outside that a jnani also has anger or egotism, but in reality, he has no such thing. So appearances only, not real. Example of sword touching philosopher's stone. From a distance, a burnt string lying on the ground may look like a real one. String twisted, burnt. So from a distance, that twist will appear. But if you come near and blow at it, it disappears altogether. The anger and egotism of a jnani are mere appearances, they are not real. Now, example in worldly life is a child. The child has no attachment. He makes a playhouse, and if anyone touches it, he will jump about and cry. The next moment, he himself will break it. That is the beauty of the Indian thought. God himself plays and breaks it. This moment, he may be very attached to his clock. He says, my daddy has given it to me. I won't part with it. But the next moment, you can cajole him away from it with a toy. He will go away with you, leaving the clock behind. So, child has not developed ego. The jnani has gone beyond ego. But his example of child suits him. These are the characteristics of a jnani. Perhaps he has many luxuries at home. Coach, chairs, paintings and equipage. Gadi Goda. Carriages, horses, like that equipage. Huh? But any day, he may leave all these and go up to Banaras, unattached, jnani. It may appear to have so many things, but he leaves them. It is not his. He leaves them and goes to a grihastha. A non-jnani can never do like that. We had a Swami, I will not name him. When he retired from Chandigarh and was to go to Alsur, he said, book 2 rooms for me. I'll bring all my things there and keep them. According to the Vedanta, the waking state too is unreal. Once a woodcutter lay dreaming. Beautiful story of Vedanta. Huh? When someone woke him up, greatly annoyed, he said, why have you disturbed my sleep? I was dreaming that I was a king and the father of 7 children. The princes were becoming well versed in letters and military arts. I was secure on my throne and ruled over my subjects. Why have you demolished my world of joy? But that was a mere dream, said the other man. Why should that bother you? Fool, said the woodcutter. You don't understand. My becoming a king in the dream was just as real as is my being a woodcutter. Rather, the woodcutter is also a dream. If being a woodcutter is real, then being a king in a dream is real also. Because the experiences of the same type. That is the example used to prove that our experience is unreal. Because it is just like the dream experience. Ramakrishna always talked about jnana. Was this why the master described the state of the jnani? Now he proceeded to describe the state of the vijnani. Thakur's special thing, after experiencing God as not only transcendent but immanent, he becomes a vijnani. Special knowledge. But vijnana means knowledge with a greater fullness. Some have heard of milk, some have seen milk, and some have drunk milk. Who has merely heard of it is ignorant. Who has seen it is a jnani. But who has drunk it is as vijnani, special experience of the immanent God. That is to say, fuller knowledge of it. After having the vision of God, one talks to him as if he were an intimate relative. That is vijnana. So God is immanent, just like an intimate relative. He talks to him. Thakur special. First of all, you must discriminate. Following the method of neti. He is not the five elements, nor the sense organs, nor the mind, nor the disinclined to continue. Huh? This is a beautiful Vedantic passage. We will take it up tomorrow. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Bhuvi Grunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.